Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Senior Gumboy. I will be your host today for our last cook-along of Black Foodie Week, and I have a special chef with me today, Chef Philman of Barbuda, not to be confused with Barbados or any other B-containing Caribbean islands. You have something special for us today. Tell us and the audience what we're going to be having today.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Big up Black Foodie for this platform, just for us to share our stories, our culture with our people. This is amazing. Like, I've been cooking for, I don't know, man, 20 years, and I probably never had an opportunity to show my audience,
It's about time.
So this is great. I'm usually like trying to make food that will represent the people that I'm trying to sell to, but now I'm just trying to educate you on Barbuda. So this is really cool. This is amazing. Whether you're watching this live or watching it in the future pre-recorded, I thank you for tuning in. So I'm going to be making a dish that really speaks towards Barbuda and what Barbuda is all about.
Okay.
Barbuda is a small fishing village, and we have a little lagoon in Barbuda that's populated by mangroves, and these mangroves create the perfect environment for spiny lobster to grow. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you a dish that we traditionally do in Barbuda with that lobster, and I'm also going to pair it with something that we call fungi. Fungi, which
that sounds like fungi or
fufu, right? It's very similar to what you would see in West Africa, where they would make fufu with cassava. Sometimes they make fufu with corn. And so sometimes you ferment it. But our the fungi in Barbuda, we make it with cornmeal. And I'm going to take you through that process. It's one of the staples that we use in Barbuda, and we mix it with a lot of different meats. And usually we have it with steamed fish, but today I'm going to do it with stewed lobster.
Yes, I'm looking forward to all the facts about the island, because us Jamaicans, if it's not Jamaica, we just think it's a small island. So I'm not trying to treat you like that. So I know you guys got a lot of good stuff and culture going on there. So I need to know some Barbuda facts as we're going along as well.
Well, I'll take you through it 100%. So you want me to get started?
Let's get started.
Let's do it. Okay. So I'm going to start off by working on an induction cooktop here, and I've never worked on this particular cooktop, so I might take a little bit of time to get familiar with it. But the first ingredient that we're going to do is the lobster, but I've substituted lobster for shrimp. All right, just because I know, obviously, lobster is expensive, man. I know in Barbuda, very affordable, right? In Barbuda, I can just talk to my uncles, and they'll go out and pick up the lobster. It's pretty much almost free for me. But here in Canada, lobster meat is very, very pricey, especially in the U.S. as well, very pricey. So start off with just some shrimp to get familiar with this recipe, and then as you start to master it, then you can move up to lobster and so on.
I'm going to let you know, we're also here in Toronto, and for all the Toronto ladies, they love a pepper shrimp. So you're already starting off right. You're already starting off right. That's a point for you, right?
All right, so we're going to start off by just lightly sauteing the shrimp or the lobster, whichever one you were using. This is what you would do, okay? You don't want the pan to get too crazily hot, but you don't want it to be cold as well, right? So I'm just going to take time and let this heat up.
About what temperature ideally would you want to get your pot to?
Say about medium. Right? Yeah, about medium. You can almost start to see the oil will start to wave a bit, and then your pan's pretty much ready. I also use my hands a lot and just bring it over the pot, just to kind of judge the temperature. I'm sure a lot of cooks do this as well, right? And grandma in the kitchen, she does this as well. You just kind of get the feel for it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not much of a cooker. I'm more of like a orderer type of person. I'm a designated taster.
Okay. So I'm gonna learn something.
I'm learning something today.
All right. So we'll start off with the shrimp. Pop that in. All I did was ahead of time I just took off the tail. And I chopped it up. These shrimp were 21, 25 count. Well, all that means is that there's 21, 25 shrimp per pound. Okay. So the lower the count, the bigger the shrimp. Okay. Write that down for sure. And all I did was just chop it up so that when we're eating our stew, you can get a little piece in every bite. Okay.
For sure. Nuggets there.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll pop that in. All right, that's a good temperature. It's a good sound to hear as we put it in.
For all my ASMR people out there, that sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay. So we're just moving this around. And what I'm trying to do here, I've had it marinating with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of black pepper. I love black pepper, man. This is one of my favorite spices. I always make sure it's freshly ground.
Yeah.
And all I'm trying to do is kind of sear that black pepper onto the shrimp. Okay. So that when it goes into the stew later on, it has that black pepper flavor.
It's a kick of
Black
black
pepper. Exactly.
You know, I like your stuff.
All right, you're learning. Okay.
So how long would you recommend for it to marinate with the pepper and all that?
If you can do it overnight, great. But if you give it if you're in a rush and you can just give it about 30 minutes to an hour, that's fine too. Okay. So we're good here. I'm gonna take this shrimp out because it's gonna do the final cooking when it's inside the stew. Okay. So out the shrimp comes. All right.
For all the people who are making this at home, okay, it's not time to eat the shrimp yet.
Not yet.
Just hold off. Just
hold off. Just give it some time. Okay. This is good. Our pan has a lot of flavor going on here. Don't wash this pan. This pan looks dirty, but it's full of good flavor. Okay? Trust me. Now, first thing we're gonna do is what we call sweating our onions and these are flavor builders. Okay? So when we say sweating, we're just adding a little bit of oil. Okay? All right. This is a little bit more than a little. All right. This is needed for this.
A double dap.
A double dap. All right. And the first thing I'm going to put in is the onions. This is the foundation. Okay.
So I'm trying to show off my limited cooking skills and knowledge.
Okay.
Would you say those are some diced onions?
The fine diced onions.
There you go.
Yes.
The diced
Diced onions. Okay. And I guess we would say what kind of what do I got going on here for my garlic?
A little diced garlic right
No, man. Try again. Starts with an M.
Minced.
Yes, bro. Yes. Minced.
Sure.
Yes, man. All right. You're looking good.
My mother would be proud today.
Doing all right. Okay. And the ginger is also minced. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, good flavors going on here. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit because I want to hear the sizzle. And I can hear it already starting to stop sizzling. So, here we go. And now, I showed you that shrimp can be a substitution for lobster.
Yeah.
The ingredient that I'm going to put on now has no substitutions. No substitutions.
That's nothing.
Okay?
All right.
This is called pimento pepper, or what we would call seasoning pepper. Can I get a close up on this? Okay. There is no substitution for this.
You know, Phil, I don't know, Phil, have you had a Scotch bonnet? Because that's my pepper. In Jamaica, we only do Scotch bonnet, so I don't know.
So, I got a story for you, right?
Okay,
right. So, when I try to describe this pepper for people that haven't had it before, I always say it's like a Scotch bonnet without the heat. Right? So you know how when you see Granny in the kitchen cooking, and she's making a stew, and she drops the Scotch bonnet in, and you don't burst it, right? Right. Because they want you to get that flavor without the heat. Yeah. So this pepper has all of that flavor. Without the heat. It's got a little bit of heat, right? But it's not gonna burn you. Okay?
I trust you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna put that in now. Right? I just chopped it up, minced it up, and in it goes. This is
about how many peppers would you say that?
I would say about 4 peppers.
Yeah. And seeds and all.
Yeah, everything in there. You're right.
Because you know what's on the seeds.
All right. Okay, so you're fine with this pepper. And you see what I'm doing here? I'm sure you got a close up on this. Is what has happened is the onion, the garlic, and the seasoning peppers are releasing their juices. Yeah. And now that's kind of interplaying with the all of the sediments that were left over from the shrimp. Right? So I'm lifting that off, and this is going to be an incredible base for our stew.
Okay. You don't put me got any water crackers, because that's
right,
smelling like I can just put on a cracker and have it like a little Caribbean bruschetta.
This guy knows his stuff. All right, cool. And it's funny because, I grew up here in Canada, and I went to culinary school in Toronto here, and you learn about the French way of cooking. Yeah. They have something called Mirepoix, which is like onions, celery, carrots. It's the foundation for a lot of their sauces. Yeah. I would say in the Caribbean, especially in Barbuda and Antigua, this would be our Mirepoix. The seasoning peppers with the garlic, onion. You can actually go into the store and have this already pre-done, pre-mixed already, and you just add it to the pan.
Kind of like a pre-mixed seasoning that you buy for a lot of Caribbean.
Exactly. So this is a good foundation that we got going on here. feeling good about where we're at in terms of the foundation, now we're gonna add the key ingredient, which is sweet red peppers, okay? Just regular red peppers, you find this in the Caribbean, we grow it on the island, and very commonly found here in North America as well. This is gonna add the body to the sauce and also the sweetness, right? And the color as well, the depth of color, everything here. This stew is basically an interplay on all these ingredients that I put in the pan right now.
And speaking of the pan, looking in there, it's making me want to go to Carnival. Look at all those colors.
Nice bright colors, right?
You guys have Carnival over there as well?
We do. So I must say, I didn't even mention the sister island, right? We are the sister island, Barbuda. It's like Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, right? You're supposed to say Antigua and Barbuda.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it because I wasn't gonna say it because I don't want nobody emailing me after this, saying what happened to it.
So you're supposed to say Antigua as well. So big up Antigua, our sister island over there. That's where the main population is.
Yeah.
Obviously a little bit bigger, a little bit more developed, a little bit more tourism over there. But they do have a carnival. It happens, I believe, around August time. Yeah. And it's similar to what we see here in Toronto. Yeah. Very similar to that. So a nice mixture of our cuisine, our music, and the colors and the costumes. Yeah. You see it all over. So, and we have another carnival in Barbuda as well. Okay, so I'm at the point where I want to make add another ingredient. So 2 things. This is tomatoes that I've just chopped up, and they look more than chopped up because what I did, I grew some cherry tomatoes for the first time in my garden this year. And I had it. Right. Okay. Well done. So and this tree, I call it a tree, but it's really a bush. It just kept giving me so much. I almost felt like a tree. And so when I harvested the tomatoes, I roast them in the oven, and then I just chopped them up. And for some of them, I took half of it and blended it to make a fire roasted cherry tomato sauce. Yeah. But this one I've just chopped up. I'm going to add that to the stew right now. Now, if you didn't have this, fire roasted cherry tomatoes, just regular diced tomatoes is fine. I just wanted to show you what I did with mine. Yeah. Right? That will come from the garden.
I'm just letting you know from now, the next dinner party you're having at home, I'm there. Okay, I'm inviting myself people.
Right. So this is, I'm sure, you smell this. This is looking good. It's smelling good. All right. It's exactly where I want it to be. Now what I'm going to do is add something that's going to give it a lot of body, and that's the tomato paste. All right. Okay. So about a tablespoon or so.
And then this is like a store-bought paste that you kind of picked up.
Yeah. I'm definitely not making my own tomato paste. Definitely not. But I will say this. I've found tomato paste products are getting a lot more innovative. Okay. And this is actually just a small thing that they've done, but I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. Whereas they started putting it into glass jars instead of in the can. Yeah. Right? So that way I can just take what I need and then just seal it back up.
Change the freshness a little bit better.
Exactly. Yeah. I've also seen it in the tubes, and that's also a nice step forward than just having it in the can. So yeah. So now you can see how thick it's starting to get. Yeah. Okay. All these ingredients need to get to know each other a little bit more, and we're gonna add in mystery liquid. Okay, this is some chicken stock that I've made, but you can use vegetable stock. If you didn't have any stock, you could just use water and season up your water as well. But do try to use something that has some flavor. Okay, so in with the chicken stock, and I'm just going to pause a bit and lift some of those sediments off. Oh yes. Okay, and here we are. The foundations of our stew is pretty much complete. Okay. So what we need to do now, all right? There's a few other ingredients that need to go in here. We need some thyme.
Oh, the one of the Caribbean staples.
Thank you.
Probably the biggest Caribbean staple ingredient, thyme.
And this came from your island, all right? I was shopping out today and looking for some thyme. And this one said Jamaican thyme. All right?
Thyme and ginger, we know how to do that over there in Jamaica. I will say.
And I must say the ginger was from Jamaica. All right, so big up Jamaica. Yes, one time. All right. Woo. Okay, so thyme goes in, and I think it wouldn't be a stew without the thyme. This is, and it's funny because when my mom cooks, everybody, my father too, they leave the thyme in there when the dish is done. You have to pick it up yourself. You have to pick it up. So we're gonna leave it in, right? Can't leave it too. You're right. You gotta make it challenging. Okay, so that's doing its thing. What I want to do now is just cover it. Okay, and let this just relax. Okay, I'm gonna turn it down. Okay.
What's temperature are we
Just
bringing
to
it
kind of let it simmer.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. What you want to do is you don't want any of the liquid to evaporate. That's
Okay.
why I'm covering it.
Yeah.
And you want to let it just like everything in this pan needs time to get to know each other.
Okay. So like
Right.
let it simmer, kind of slow.
Let it simmer.
Kind of
Let it chill out.
build together.
All right. So we're gonna do that while it's chilling out. I'm gonna move it over to the back stove, and we're gonna work on our okra fungi. All right. All right. So this can go back here.
People, I don't know what this fungi thing is, but it sounds interesting. Okay, I've had fufu a few times, and I enjoyed the fufu, so I'm looking forward to the fungi.
Yeah.
A la fungi. Okay.
It's fungi. Yeah. You're right. And I'm just going to measure up because this one we need to make sure it's measured out properly.
Okay.
So let me just get this little thing here, and I'm going to do about 2 cups of water. Okay. Okay. So that's 1 cup.
And from my French people there.
Yeah.
You know, we are in Canada. We gotta be.
Okay. So it's a good thing I measured it because I did lose a little bit. So I'm gonna just get some water
Add a
in
little
here.
bit there.
Yeah. Because while it was on the back stove, so I lost about half a cup.
So have you ever tried one of these peppers by itself? Because I know there's been a lot of pepper challenges going around. People eat
Actually,
them.
you know
Have
what?
you ever
You know what?
decided to,
I actually have never tried it on its own like that. I usually just try like a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. You see?
Is that that's how you're feeling today?
I'm feeling like I feel like you're challenging me. You know, you're like
Quite. Oh my. Do we have to
so,
look around?
okay. So I'm gonna give mine a wash. All right. Okay.
See, this is why you shouldn't talk too much, people. Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's do it.
But I did say, right? I said it wasn't too hot. It's like a Scotch bonnet without the heat. So technically, I should be okay if we eat this, right?
If you're from the Caribbean, you should be able to handle it.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
I do. It is sweet.
It's good. Yeah. But it has. You see, it's coming up.
You know, it kind of reminds me of there's Jamaican cherries, right? The Jamaican version of cherries, and I find it kind of has a little bit of that flavor in the skin.
Yeah. Right. Doable.
Yeah, sure.
And we got all the seeds too.
If you guys don't
Right.
blame us.
Right. And I don't really need any milk or anything like that.
No, you're fine. You'll be fine.
So, but you taste that like almost like it's got a citrusy,
Yeah.
a little bit of smoky flavor to it too. Incredible stuff. So pimento pepper or seasoning pepper. You'll find this at any Caribbean grocery store. They have to sell this, or else they're not really representing the Caribbean. So, yeah, and they're pretty affordable. Like a bag like this, which was grown in the Caribbean and shipped here, cost about $4 Canadian. So that's like free for anybody in the U.S. because you know our money is like.
Next year you gotta add the peppers to your garden. What else were you growing this year?
Oh yes, that would be nice, man. You're gonna save the seeds, and I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I have a few Scotch bonnets myself growing. I had some callaloo this year.
Nice.
I had the cherry tomatoes.
Yep.
Some just the regular kind of tomatoes I had grown as well. So you know, each year I try to make the garden a little bit bigger, a little bit more diverse in the stuff that I plant. So.
No, I did some. I also did some Scotch bonnet, and I didn't get to callaloo this year, but I've grown that in years past.
Yeah.
It goes really, really well here in Canada. Okay, let's get started on this on the fungi. So for fungi, all you need is some really good, flavorful stock. I'm just using water, and this recipe goes back to our ancestors, right? I talked to my mother, and my father. We were both from Barbuda, and I wanted to represent this staple accurately. And in my culinary world, I'll always start with like some kind of a stock.
Yeah.
But when my parents were growing up, sometimes you didn't have access to stuff like this all the time, right? You didn't have any chicken bones or things like that to make into a stock. So you would just literally use some water, and then they would season it up with whatever butter they had around. Sometimes it wasn't even butter; it was like a kind of like a margarine type thing, right? And then they would make sure that they season up their water, right? Whether it be a little bit of pepper and definitely some salt, okay? And just lightly seasoned, and just lightly seasoned. They would taste it and make sure that you're starting off with something You know, doesn't have to be overly powering because what we're gonna put in there, which is the cornmeal, will have a ton of flavor. And let's talk about that cornmeal, okay? Because when my mother and father were growing up in Barbuda, this didn't exist, right? Okay. Cornmeal, processed cornmeal wasn't there.
Yeah.
So what they used to do was they would grow corn, and then they'd roast it, right? And then they would take that corn that's roasted, cool it down, and when they roast it in the yaba pot, right? You know the yaba pot?
The yaba, what is that? Like
Yaba is like
the big cauldron kind
yeah,
of thing?
like it's made out of clay,
yeah,
right? So we call it yaba. You might call it something
Yeah.
different in Jamaica. But this yaba pot would hold the heat, and you just kind of move the corn around until it was nicely roasted.
Yeah.
And then you would take the corn and mill it,
Okay.
right? Until it was nice and fine. And that would be the foundations of what you would make your fungi with, right? Okay. So the whole thing about fungi is you can't have any lumps, right? It has to be smooth. Has to be smooth. And to make it smooth, you have to start out, make sure your water is boiling.
Yeah.
And make sure you add in the cornmeal while you're whisking.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Now, I'm hot. Are you hot?
I mean,
I gotta, before I start this fungi, I'm just gonna wipe down here. I think I'm shining. Oh my Lord. Woo! You feel it?
So let me ask you something.
Wait.
I may be causing a little trouble here,
Okay.
but you mentioned your mother and father
Yes.
a few times. I assume that they both taught you how to cook and maybe gave you a good basis of for food and a passion for it. Who's a better cook?
Oh, my dad.
Okay.
Yeah. No, my dad. My mom cooks. She can cook really good, but she doesn't enjoy it.
Okay.
My father loves.
He loves to cook.
He loves to cook. So yeah. No problems there at all.
No problem
there at all.
Okay. She'll
Okay.
say that too.
So this is an important step. So get really close with the camera here. So I'm adding in the cornmeal. I just want to say the cornmeal is about it's like a medium grain. And that's important. You don't want it too fine. You want it to be a medium grain. Okay. You gotta whisk this in. And then you're gonna feel it kind of stiffen up. Okay. And when that happens, then we're gonna switch to what we call a ton tick. Okay.
That sounds like a dance.
All right.
Caribbean dance right there.
So, when we say turn in the Caribbean, we say ton, right? In Barbuda, we say ton. And now it's thickening up. So, I'm going to turn down the heat. And when we say stick in Barbuda, we say tick, right?
That's pretty quick.
So, this is my ton tick. Okay?
I see what you did.
All right. Now, what you're doing here is you're just continuing to stir. All right, and you're gonna it's gonna kind of resemble the thickness of mashed potatoes when it's all done. Okay, now I must give you some different variations of fungi. Fungi can be made with, see, we just made it with the water and the butter, right? Okay, but you can make it with, we call peas fungi. So we'll take pigeon peas, and we'll boil the peas, right? And we'll save that water. And sometimes we'll use that water to make rice and peas, right? But you can also save that water to make peas fungi. So instead of the regular water, you would put the peas water, and then you start it off like that. That has a ton of nutrition. Okay?
That's how you going on.
Yes, that's how we're doing it. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Another way, right now what you're seeing here, we call just plain fungi, right? Naked fungi, nothing in there, empty fungi, right? If you had nothing, and you were, you didn't have a lot of money, this would be something that you'd always have. As you come home from school, and you'd always have at least this as a foundation for your meal.
So would this dish typically be eaten with for dinner or something? Breakfast, depending on how you cook it?
Depending. So my father was saying he remembers coming home from school at lunchtime, and this would be something that he would eat. My mother was also saying that she would have this. It's funny because when I asked my mother her experience with fungi, she's like, I don't like fungi. She didn't like fungi, right? But depends on what you pair it with. So we have in Barbuda, we have something called soldier crab, or what we call hermit crab.
Yes.
And this at a certain time of year, they have a whole bunch of eggs like roe, and they're really rich in flavor. You tell any Barbudan, I don't care if they say they don't like fungi. You say I'm making soldier fungi.
They're there.
They're there.
They're there.
They're
They're there early.
They're there early. So soldier fungi. And another thing, we have land crab in Barbuda. And when the land crab do their migration, and they go from one place to another, it's a perfect time to catch them because they're going from their hiding spot. And then we pen them up and we what we call purge them. We feed them to get rid of all of the impurities.
Yeah.
And we usually feed them like garlic and things like that to
Yeah,
make it taste good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And then we will have fungi with land crab. And I don't care if, once again, if you're not a big fan of fungi, if I say fungi and land crab, you're coming.
They'll be there early.
You're coming to eat. Okay.
Well, remember the next dinner party. You guys witnesses, right?
You're there.
You guys.
Okay. Now I'm gonna towel down one more time. I'm feeling it. Today I'm gonna have to bring this towel here. Woo-hoo. Okay.
Kind of looks like, reminds me of cornmeal porridge somewhat a little bit. It's when my mom makes the cornmeal porridge.
All right.
Same kind of colors there. I like it.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do with this now is add in the okra. So at the good time here.
Oh wait, there's more.
There's more because it's still empty right now. I need the okra in here. Okay. Now, where is my okra?
Yeah, should I check the fridge for you?
Yeah.
Let me check the fridge and see if it's in there.
Oh, hold on. Where is it? Oh, I found it. Right here. Right here.
There we go.
Okay. We have the okra. So, what I did with this okra ahead of time, I just chopped it up and then sauteed it with a little bit of oil, and that will prevent it from getting all too slimy on it. Right.
Yeah. Okay. I feel that's where okra loses a lot of people when it gets too slimy and like the texture. But it's good for you, people. Come on.
Absolutely. And so we did that ahead of time. And just put in a little bit. Don't need it all.
A little minced.
You got it. Okay. And we'll stir that up. Now sometimes I just put the okra in raw, right? It depends on how I'm feeling. But I wanted to show you this way because I think this gives us the best texture. Okay. And the thing with fungi has to be stiff, like I was saying. It has to resemble mashed potatoes. And we are getting to that point right now. All right? So I'm going to turn down the heat as low as it can go. Okay? And we're going to start to assemble our fungi. Now, fungi has to be in a tight ball. Okay? All right? This is where I'm going to need your help. So I'm going to show you one, and then you're going to do the rest. All right? All right. I'm going to push you to work here. So let me get rid of some of this stuff so we can have a little bit more.
So would it be kind of like how my West Africans do it, where they'll kind of eat it with their fingers, or would you typically?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are going to eat this with our fingers for sure. I was talking to my elders about this, and because obviously, I grew up here in Canada, so I'm used to the fork and the knife.
Yep.
But I was saying, how do you guys eat this? And they would say, yes, with our hands. This is what fungi was meant to do, and that's why it needs to be thick.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's looking good. First thing we got to do is coat the bowl with a little bit of oil. I'm going to bring this close to the camera so you can see, because it's important that we don't put too much oil in there. And I'm going to get a little paper towel. Bring this close to us. We're going to need this paper towel. Remember, I hope you're watching.
I'm watching.
I want to do this. Okay.
Pay close attention.
Okay. So, a little bit of oil, just enough to coat it. And now, we come in with our fungi. Okay.
A dab and a half there.
About a dab and a half. All right. And now we're going to bring it together. Okay. Now watch.
Oh my gosh. Techniques. Look at this.
Okay. All right. This bowl could be a little bit tighter, but there it is. Okay. And you're kind of just working it around.
Trying to get the perfect sphere, or
yeah, but it will be somewhat. You're just trying to get it to set up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we will put it onto a dish, and we'll see if it holds up. Okay. If it holds up, we know we have a good fungi. We're gonna eat it, so I'm trying not to touch it here with my fingers. But there you go. There's my first fungi. Okay. I'm gonna try one more, and then I'll hand it over to you. All right. Okay. All right. So I'll try to do it over here so you can get a good camera angle on it. Right. So in. Yeah. This one coming in. All right.
See, this is where the Caribbean rhythm comes in handy, right? You just so you got a little fat there.
This one worked out really nice. All right. Boom. I really like this one because I think this is the best one. That's nice and smooth, right?
That is very picturesque.
Okay. So, and you notice that it's not like once we set it up, we put it onto the plate, it stays there, right? That's how you know you have a good recipe. All right. So I'm gonna move to the side and let you get it.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, Senior Gumboy here. I'm doing my first fungi.
Okra fungi.
Okra fungi.
Okra fungi.
Minced okra fungi.
Right.
Yeah, get a little.
I'll hold this for you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You need a little more there because.
No, start like.
that.
Go with that. Make a little mini one.
So let me transport myself to Caravana and get in the rhythm. Get it there.
Yes. All right.
See
there.
there. Okay.
Right.
Can I get?
Nice. All right. Yeah, man. Fast rhythm record. Yes.
Feel the rhythm.
Yes.
Feel the ride.
Yeah. Right. Now make it hit against the side of the bowl. Really smack it around.
It's kind of looking like a dumpling.
It's looking like a festival now. There, I've heard the first slap.
Oh, that's what we're going for.
Yeah, man. There, it's coming together. Together. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Too much chip.
Let's see what it looks like here.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. Out onto the plate.
For the first time.
Oh boy. All right. You know what? For the first one. Let me just flip it around.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter where I flip it. Okay. Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
Let me see if we can fix this.
That's why you are the expert.
Because sometimes this happens.
Okay.
Right?
Fair enough.
You see? So you hear the smack. You hear the smack. I was trying to get this out. You were having so much fun.
I know. I was I'm sorry.
Right? But this one we're just gonna try to bring it together. Okay. And well, there's really not much we can do with that.
At least we got two good ones.
All right, we got two good ones. Okay, cool. All right. So let's try to get one more in here. Okay. Just throw that up. We'll get one more.
So is there any other variations of fungi that you
Fungi.
Fungi. That you could pick up?
That's probably my favorite, but I think like okra and the peas fungi are the most famous, common. You can do spinach as well if you don't like okra. There really is no limit to what you can do. The other thing I would mention is some people like to. You see how I made my chicken stock? Some people like to use coconut milk and just be creative that way. So you can totally do that. And then there's it's all about what you eat with the fungi, right? So maybe you're eating it with like on the island we have venison, deer. Okay, so so they were introduced to the island back in the colonial days, and because they have no natural predators, they've kind of evolved and whatnot. So the thing is, you've got to keep the fungi hot. So you see how it's stiffened up? Yeah. So I don't think this last one might not get to where we want it to go, but we're going to try.
So there's a pretty small window.
There's a pretty small window for perfection.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're still going to get good food, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. The goal here is to have something that's really stiff and firm, so that we can add it to our stew. Okay.
So is there any restaurants and stuff that in Toronto here where you can get some fungi or have you found one yet?
That would be tough to find, right? So I can't even. I would have to heat this back up to get to where I want it to be. Okay. But we've got some good ones here. All right. So now let's move into our stew again. All right. And another thing that we usually do with fungi, we will pair it with steamed fish. Okay. Right? That's normally what we do. We'll make the fungi, we'll have a steamed fish.
Some snapper, because Jamaicans love some snapper.
Snapper, grunt, grouper, right? Barbuda, whatever we got kicking around, we'll boil it up, make a nice sauce, and then we'll add it in. Okay? So we're gonna add in that lobster stew. Let me just give my hands a little wash here. And we'll get into that.
I tried. It wasn't, don't hold it against me. It was my first time, okay?
You did all right. I think you did good. I think that's pretty good. We can tell which one is yours. Well, you did all right. All right, cool. Okay, so let me just give this a little wipe down, and let's get into the next thing.
Make sure, guys, make sure you wash your chicken, okay? I will not say that enough. Wash your chicken.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about that? Okay, we won't go into that debate.
No, I mean, it's not a debate. It's what we do, right? I know, like, as a chef, and I've been trained in food safety, and I hear all this, don't wash your chicken because, all the bacteria is killed when you cook it.
Yeah.
It's not about the bacteria, folks. It's about taking care of your food.
Yes.
and you don't know where the chicken, how they butchered the chicken, what that knife came in contact with. Like, so how are you gonna get rid of dirt when you're cooking? Dirt doesn't come off. You have to wash it off, right? A lot of people just pretend or hope that their chicken is clean after it comes out of the oven. But we don't work on hope and pretend.
We make sure.
Yes. Okay? And we wash our chicken and we wash our meats. That is just standard. So it's not even a debate. It's what we do, and it's part of our culture.
It is.
I think we should be proud of it.
I think so.
Right? I don't think it's something we should be embarrassed about. We wash our food. We wash it before we eat it. That's just before we cook it. So that's how we do it. Okay. One thing I forgot to add to this, right? Because we haven't really seasoned it that much. Is the bouillon. All right? Here's the thing. I used to be embarrassed about cooking and using things like Maggi cube and whatnot.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Because they say as chefs we should always, from scratch. Listen, no matter what kitchen I've worked in, when we do it from scratch, we make the stock, we take hours to make the stock and get it to where it is there. At the end, the chef comes by, tastes it, and then takes a handful of the bouillon and throw it in the stock, right? To give it that taste that you're familiar with. Yes. Okay? So don't feel like anyways I'm using like a chicken base, but you could use a vegetable base, okay? And just in it goes, okay? That's all you need. Just a little bit, okay? Work it in, and you're good, all right?
See, I can tell the culinary training there, that little technique. I tried that one time and ended up all over the counter. I never did it again.
Good.
Okay. How's that taste?
I know you're vegetarian, so,
I could tell by the way you said, I saw the way you close your eyes. You know that's when food is good. When you close your eyes, you just.
It's got so much. First of all, the body of the sauce is right where I want it to be. But that interplay of the onions, the garlic, the sweet peppers, and the pimento peppers, it's all in there. I taste a little hint of the thyme. It is just nice and rich and looking really, really good.
There's a certain thing of good dishes. You can just see it, and I can always tell a good dish by the little liquids, the kind of oils that are there, and I can tell right there, that's a good dish.
All right. So now, in with the shrimp, or this could be your lobster, all right? Okay. And in it goes.
It's the weekend. It's the weekend.
So it's important. I'm just gonna flip it again, so I don't want to damage your camera here. So what you want to do is make sure that the shrimp has time to nestle into the sauce. Okay.
And I like your sauce to shrimp ratio, because when you go to some people's house or whatever, they cook for you, and then it's good, but there's not enough sauce. Right? And you're there scraping with the sauce. You have to strategize your eating because you don't want to have all. I like your stuff.
All right, good. There's plenty of sauce. All right, good sauce to shrimp ratio. Okay, you should let this just chill out, like any stew. The next day, it's gonna taste better. Even better. The day after, gonna taste even better. But if you want to serve this today, then I would say just let it chill for at least about. Let it simmer for a good 5 minutes or so, and then away it goes. So let's cover it up, give it a good 5 minutes, and I can talk about the island with you, okay? Because the island is just this incredible place. They call me the rhyming chef as well.
Okay.
Right?
Tell me about it.
All right. So I'll give you a little rhyme about Barbuda, because Barbuda is so special to me that I wrote a little something.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You got a beat? You can give me a little beat or something? Oh yeah. All right, let's see what you got. Barbuda be the land of the sun and the sea. Simplicity, nah trouble, we just cool water and white sand. Fresh fish in the frying pan on the daily. Maybe you might want to test back and stay for a little while. Plenty more smiles here to greet you. Take you to the friggin' bird sanctuary. Mid-December, early January be the best time when they inflate the house to find the best stuff. Little sights, no doubt, can't forget about taking up the caves on the east side. Be my favorite spot to cool down when it's too hot. That's the breeze from the ocean, soothing my skin like dry hits to lotion. And if you notice they got some good food, Okra right here be the spot that I choose, because he's serving up the proper real fish and lobster. Yeah, that's my father. Proud of the old man, because this is our land on the beachfront. Join us for lunch, you won't want to deep. My whole family cooks the food from the heart, cause that's where it starts. Straight from the inner soul, little nutmeg and a bit of cloves, bring the paper to ya. Pick up my Barbuda.
I can't say those, but great.
No.
Now I see why they're caught that. Okay, guys, you know, I don't mean to toot our own horn, but you see that little horn there?
I saw that.
Okay.
No rehearsal here, man.
Right? Straight off the top.
Straight off the top. I love that. Big up. Okay. That was the time we needed. Okay. So now we are at.
You're making me rethink my food decisions.
Right. You might have to be a flexitarian.
You
may have to be flexitarian. Okay. So that's come together nice. We have the good vibes, good rhymes. Everything is looking good. Mm-hmm. Now we plate it up.
Looking good, smelling good.
Okay. So we need a few bowls. I got one bowl here, and I'll get another bowl right here.
Underneath, and just wash your hair.
Yeah, there's a few.
I got you.
Okay. Okay.
How many we need? One more?
Yeah, one more.
Got you.
One more.
Many hands make light work.
There we go. Okay. We got our two bowls. Okay. And the fungi has to go on the top. Okay. All right. So we put in our stewed lobster, which is made with shrimp. This time as a substitution. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna make a third one. People I think we have three good. And you see that piece of thyme, you gotta find that. You gotta find that, okay? All right. Okay. Now, in with our okra fungi. And you have to nestle that right on top. Okay? Nestle that right on top. Okay? Nestle that right on. You know what? I'm gonna pick up your little mini one here.
I was about to say, I can do that. I was about to
gotta
say.
pick that one up, man. That's your first one. I have to pick it up, man. It look good, right? It's a good effort right there. Okay, no shit. This is gonna taste good. Don't worry about the look.
Exactly.
It's gonna taste good. Okay. Now, when I was talking to my parents and all the elders in Barbuda about this dish, they were saying, Phil, this is something that you eat with your hands. Okay? So I'm gonna give my hands a good wash, all right? And we're gonna taste this.
Guys, I am contemplating here. It's looking good, it's smelling good. I made one.
Well, you know what you can do? You can try some of the fungi because I guess no, the fungi it's vegetarian, man. Okay. The fungi on its own is vegetarian. Okay. We didn't really.
All right. Let me get a wash. You know, cleanliness.
Right.
We're talking
always.
about chicken.
Always. Clean. Wash it up. All right. Okay. Ooh. I'll leave that one there for you. Okay. All right. So here it is. Okay, we got our hands here.
My pride and joy here. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So grab a little piece.
Yeah.
Okay. What you want to do is just kind of
dip it in there.
there.
Okay. So similar to how you eat fufu and other dishes like that. I feel about that. Oh my goodness.
I got no words. I'm absolutely speechless. This is, and I've eaten fungi many a times, but there's something about eating with your hands that just makes it taste even better.
Let me try some of the fungi here. Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna have any shrimp, but I'm gonna try some of the little sauce. The sauce around there because the way it was smelling.
Right here. Just dip that fungi into the sauce. I've never eaten fungi on camera with my hands before. So you have to excuse me. I'm getting a little bit messy.
I see what you did there.
Okay?
I see what you did there. Well, people, we're going to the next dinner party. There's only a limited space, okay? I can only bring maybe 2 or 3 of you, so you guys put in the comments or something like that. Whoever wants it, you know, put in the comments. Who wants to come over to the dinner party? Let us know.
So, what can I say? I think the food on our island is, if you look at fungi, what do we got here? We've got one ingredient, really, the cornmeal.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the effort that went into making that cornmeal, right? I know we just bought that from the store, but you know, the history of Barbuda, They would have milled the corn, roasted the corn to create this. And then what else did we have in there? Just the okra, right? So this is a very simple dish to create. You don't need a lot of money to create the dish, and it's very nutritious as well, right?
I think that's true. A dish that really kind of shows the Caribbean and how we've kind of had to, take little things and make it stretch and bring it a long way, and things that may not, a lot of people throw away. We've flipped it and made it some like world class, exquisite tasting dishes, right? So I can see that in there.
Yeah. No, it really brings me back, and I'm happy to be able to share that okra fungi with Black Foodie. A few other things I will just talk about from the island. It's you saw this on the side here. This is our pink sand. So Barbuda is famous for its pink sand beach. We have a huge beach that runs for miles, and this pink sand washes up on shore. It's this beautiful, brilliant color, and people come from miles around across the globe to experience the pink sand. In Barbuda, you can take a little bit of the pink sand home with you. They have this little bottles that you can buy at the tourist shop. And then this is a conch shell. Every Barbudan would have a conch shell in their home, right?
Like a little figurine on the mantle or something.
Yes. So when I saw Marshall Montana and saw shell thing, I was like, yo, I could do that, right? So this is a conch shell, and conchs are really special on the island. The thing about the seafood in Barbuda, you've got to know somebody to get the seafood. We don't have a fish shop.
So there's no market.
There's no market. So you need to call somebody, like either your uncle or you got to know somebody.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you when they're going out to go fishing. Yeah. And then you have to meet them at the dock when they come in. And if you're not there,
talk about fresh.
If you're not there, then they're going to sell it to somebody else. So that's, this is how I grew up eating fish when I was back home. I couldn't just go to the market. It was like a process. So I think that's why I appreciate seafood so much, because to get it, I didn't just go to the store. There was always a process involved. And you're right. There's nothing fresher than that. Like that is, to me, when people talk about fresh seafood, it's got to be, it's either caught and cooked that day, or you preserve it so you can cook it another day.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So
I would imagine you guys do like salt fish as well.
Yeah, we salt a lot of preserving, as you know. We didn't have a lot of freezers back there, so back then I should say. So we definitely did a lot of salting, and I do that as well. So I have a traditional dish called salt cod. Like we do a saltfish Sunday breakfast every Sunday. Yeah, we'll boil the cod, and we'll pair it with something we call choba, which is basically mashed eggplant. Okay. And we will pair that with some dumpling, like a roast dumpling. And when I say roast, it's like you knead the dumpling that day, and then you roast it in the yabba pot. Yeah. Right? And it's one of those things, just a few ingredients: flour, water, salt, a little bit of baking soda, baking powder. But man, it's the way it's worked. Yeah. And nobody really has a recipe for it. It's done by feel and touch. And it sounds very simple, but when you pair that with the saltfish, which is kind of stewed down like this, pair it with the eggplant, and everything has its own quadrant. We don't mash it all together. No, it's important that you keep everything separate. Yeah. Because the eggplant is kind of bitter. Yeah. And the salt cod has obviously got all the flavor to it. So you're pulling the salt cod into the eggplant, and you're making your own kind of creation on the plate. And then we also have the plantain and the avocado and the salad, everything like a big breakfast, like kind of like how you would see in Jamaica with
Sunday breakfast.
Sunday breakfast, the ackee and the saltfish and the breadfruit, banana. Right. So same kind of thing.
I made it a goal for myself to visit every Caribbean island, and just get more familiar with the culture and everything like that. And now I will say you've put up there on the list specifically for the food, because the way you're describing it sounds delicious, and I can't wait to head over there.
You will love it. If you go over, come check out my sister's beach bar. It's called two things. Yeah. Okay. First, my father's beach bar, Uncle Ratty's. Okay. It's the original beach bar in Barbuda. Okay. My father was the first one to go off the grid, leave the village, leave the comfort of electricity, and go out and set up on the beach solar power. All right. He was the first.
Like Soldier Boy, he was the first.
Soldier Boy, first. Okay. So big up. So if you go to Barbuda, you have to step up to Uncle Ratty's. All right. That's where you're gonna get your good seafood and experience great food on the beach. My sister also set up villas beside Uncle Ratty's. So if you want to stay and experience Barbuda and get an authentic Barbudan experience, right? You check out Barbuda Cottages. So So just Google Barbuda cottages, and you'll see my sister's set up in front of Uncle Ratty's.
Well, we'll discuss it at the dinner party, guys. You know, we'll get more details for those of you who are heading over to
Yes, so you're gonna love that. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about Barbuda forever, but I would just say for the folks that are either if you're watching this live or you're watching this pre-recorded, definitely Google Barbuda and National Geographic, and it will take you to an article written by a Barbudan living in Atlanta right now. Fabulous article that takes you through the history of Barbuda and why Barbuda is so special, because Barbuda is one of the only places in the Caribbean where the entire land, the entire island is held in common, right? Land ownership is held in common by the people. So if you want a piece of land in Barbuda, to own a land, to own a piece of land, you have to be Barbuda. Right, so it's very special, very unique. They're trying to change that now to make way for privatization, but
I would hope they keep it the way it is, and you know, maintain the culture of the island and whatnot.
And that's why I appreciate Black Foodie and this platform, because there's no telling what will happen to Barbuda, but we can always preserve our culture through food. So this has been a great experience to give you a little taste of Barbuda, and hopefully this is a really easy dish. Okra fungi, really simple. There's other dishes that are a little bit more complex, but this is a good introduction. And if everything goes well, we'd love to be back and do something like this in the future.
For sure. It was a pleasure. Thank you, my brother.
Respect.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You know, Black Foodie Week. I hope you guys tuned in, and you guys can watch everything again, you know, at your leisure. Make sure you're following Black Foodie. Make sure tell them where they can follow you.
Oh man, you can check me out, Philman's Flavors. You see it up on your screen right now. Check me out, where I'm always posting cute things with I'm all about my kids, man. I've got 2 boys, and I remember when I was a chef, still a chef, but I was like, I have to be able to be there for my children, right? Like, being a chef, you're committed to the restaurant and whatnot. So being a corporate chef, it gives me a little bit more of a 9 to 5, good work-life balance, so I can do things like this. And my kids, I'm sure they're watching. Z1, Z2, love you, and Daddy's coming home soon.
Yes. And thank you guys. Again, my name is Senior Gumboy. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, all those, you know, all the social media platforms. It was a pleasure. And make sure you're following Black Foodie as well, right? To stay tuned to all the cultural culinary treats of the diaspora, right?